Well, today on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, you know, the Democrats have prioritized the migrants over American citizens. That has been a policy of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. No one has made those decisions but them. They had rolled back the Trump policies of the Remain in Mexico, which was working. They wanted Title 42 ended, and the migrants start flooding the country. Now, a lot of people get mad at the migrants, but you have to understand, the migrants could only do what they are allowed to do, ladies and gentlemen. And when you focus all your anger at the migrants and not focusing your anger on who's really responsible is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democrat Party, is misplaced. And that's how you allow them to skirt away from what they have done. You know what I'm saying? Now, this one sister who is a healthcare worker, black woman, there was a series of black people that interviewed with Fox News. And I'm going to probably take my time and go multiple podcasts just covering what a lot of these black people are saying. In particular, this one sister going to point out something that many of you probably don't even know. Let's go ahead and check that out.
He wants to make it seem as if he's for the blacks, and he's not really, because he hasn't really helped anybody. And I don't like the fact that he's even sending weapons to Israel when it's people here that still need help. And I hate to say this, but people that are immigrants that's coming here, their first day here, because I work in the medical field, they already have Medicaid, and it's people here that are still on the list waiting for it. So
what that sister just said is a slap in the face to the black people in Detroit, or anybody who's an American citizen in Detroit, for that matter, who is a taxpayer. So Joe Biden not only just recently signed $1 billion worth of weapons to Israel. When y'all talk about Ukraine, when y'all talk about Palestine and all of that, you have to understand Joe Biden is subsidizing this. If Joe Biden would say, hey, I'm not sending no weapons to nobody, that money, all that money I was going to send in weapons, I'm going to go ahead on and spend that money with the American people, give the American people right, make sure the American people are good, because they elected me to make sure they're good. Nobody would have a problem with Joe Biden right now. But he keeps sending billions of dollars of our taxpayer money to go for weapons. So he's continuing to do this, right? And I firmly believe it's not just weapons, but just money. And there's a lot of money laundering going on. And a lot of these senators and Congress people are getting a lot of this money. I just believe that. Now, eventually, something's going to come out what's going to expose it, because, you know, we're living in the age of exposure. A lot of these people, you know, it's just not Puffy, the only one that's going to be exposed now, because right now it's Puffy and you've seen all these little, you know, people in Hollywood, but it's going to eventually start going to the politicians. It's going to happen. And there's going to be things come out about these politicians you're going to be so shocked about, because all that mess with Puffy, there's plenty of politicians that was involved with that mess with Puffy too. Now, so not only that we're not getting the money used that we put in taxes, but he's sitting up there giving them Medicaid over the American citizens, right? But then you have silly politicians out there and silly Americans that don't want everyone to have health care. They're mad at something like Medicare for all. Listen, I'm not a Democrat at all, but that's one thing I do agree with the Democrats about: Medicare for all American citizens. Every American citizen should have a Medicare card, and they should be able to go and get health care when they need it. How is it that people who are citizens of this country, who pay taxes, are sitting up here not going to the doctor, going to the emergency room when they need help, right? But the migrants come right over here and say, hey, here's your Medicaid card. You can go to the doctor. You got American citizens who can't afford health care, who work every day, who can't afford insurance because it's too freaking expensive for working poor people. Because the majority of Americans who are dealing with these issues are what you consider the working poor. They're not homeless. They have a house. They have a car, but they just work paycheck to paycheck. They don't have no abundance of anything. So they're almost like considered the working poor. They miss one paycheck, they're homeless. That you're in a working poor status if you miss one paycheck and you're homeless. Let's call it what it is. I don't care how much money you make. If you miss one paycheck and you're homeless, you're the working poor, period. You don't have no overabundance. And it's a big slap in the face to the taxpayer, especially when you have black healthcare workers, American healthcare workers, seeing migrants come in and they're given Medicaid cards. Their taxpayer money is going to migrants who aren't citizens of this country, who aren't doing the taxes, and they just been given things. This is why people have been saying, hey, man, where Trump at? Because Trump, he's the one saying he's going to have the biggest deportation event in American history. Now, when that stuff is living in Detroit, you know, people are struggling in Detroit, and there are people in Detroit that have been waiting in line, and the migrants got to skip over them, and when Trump say, hey, I'm going to have the biggest deportation event in American history, now you see why some people say, yeah, where Trump at? Now you see why? That's why, ladies and gentlemen. That's why. Biden is not just letting them in here and letting them go to work. No, he's papering them up. He's taking resources away from the American people. And if you're not doing that for the migrants, he's taking your tax dollars and going dump it in Ukraine, going put it in Israel, and just spending all your money like an open checkbook. And the Democrats and Republicans want to keep throwing all this money. Biden has the ability to stop it all if he wants to, but he don't. This is why people are just say, you know what? I'm not going to vote for Trump. I'm not voting for Biden. I'm choosing the couch. A lot of people are saying that too. And I believe the couch is going to win the election, actually, more than Trump or Biden will. Now, the way it's looking, we don't know what's going to happen election night, of course. But a lot of people is leaning toward Trump because of the economy, because of immigration, because of the taxes that's coming up, business, inflation, interest rates. A lot of people leaning toward Trump for that stuff. It don't matter if you like him or not. They're leaning toward him because of those reasons. Because let me tell you something. In America, we've been dealing with racism for, God knows how long. We don't live with racists. They don't live in our house. Let's call it what it is. You may run into them in the street. You may run into them here and there on the job. But we've been dealing with racism a long time. What we do care about more than anything is keeping our money in our pocket, keeping them costs down, keep them gas prices down, keep prices down. That's what we care about, because in the black community, if we're suffering collectively on economics, why do we want to put a guy in office that's prioritizing everybody else but the citizens of this country? Why do we want to do that? Now, you have some black people that don't care about that at all. Some of them even tell you that they realize Biden is not good, but, I can't put Trump back in there. And it's not because Trump did them something personally or even did the black community anything. Now, you can say, man, yeah, he put in a crime bill, or he did this to hurt black people, that to this black. No, they just don't like him. They don't like how he talk. They don't like, he lies. Man, all them politicians lie. Just Trump just willing to lie openly. You know what I'm saying? He just rude. Well, he's up front with it. All other politicians are rude too, like Kathy Hochul, saying that children in the Bronx, black children in particular, don't know what computer mean. Is that nice? Is that not racist? Because, a trope of racist against black people is that we're dumb, we're stupid, we're ignorant. So we need white people to tell us everything. This is why the Democrats say we're the only ones that's subject, basically, to misinformation. We're the only ones that's subject to disinformation. We're the only ones that's subject to Russian bots and Russians telling us not to vote and voter suppression by Russians. It's only us. They don't say that about nobody else. Why? Because the Democrats are racist. They think that way about us. So we subjected to these other white people way across the seas that we don't know nothing about no doggone Russians. We don't speak Russian. We don't live by Russians. We don't have friends as Russians. None of that. But we're so dumb we can't see. It's now. I will say, let me be honest, because I do have to take some. There are people, and I say people in general, that are gullible, unfortunately, and they do fall to some people. Like, I'm gonna give you a true example. On Facebook, I have my other page where I talk about, things about relationships, entertainment, stuff like that. It's called the Phillip Scott Show. This whole happens mostly on Facebook. So you have dedicated trolls that would tell people to call them. Now, anyone that know me know I would never tell any of you to call me. Call me for what? If you're gonna talk to someone, you got to go through Brother Kellen first, because that's our protocol. You talk to him, and everything works out. Then we'll have that conversation. That just keeps a lot of things away from me that I don't need to be engaging in, and it keeps me to keep rolling and producing content like I need to produce, run the company, XYZ, right? Cool. Yet you have people that will later come tell me, oh, you said for me to message you. You said to me, I don't tell no random people to come message me. Why would I tell some random person? But then I finally go look, and then the account say Phillip Scott Shows, or it have one L, but it'll take the, and I'm sitting up here looking, I'm like, how do you not see this? Like, do you ever see me in the comment section constantly talking to people? Have I ever did? So I do get people in general, and I don't just say black people, fall for some of that, because it's amazing to me how people fall for that, and I kind of see a pattern with some people, but it's not everybody. It's not everybody. You got people falling for scammers, calling on the bank, saying that's people bank, and they draining their accounts and all kind of other things. But that's like a happens to everybody. It's not just black people, but according to the Democrats, it's only black people that's subject to this, not everybody. When we know we can watch news stories and clearly we see it happens to everybody. So a lot of black people are waking up to Biden and the Democrats. Now he talking about he wants to do something for black people. Sir, it's too late. The only kind of Hail Mary you can do right now in the fourth quarter is reparations in the form of cash payments. If you're not doing that on a federal level, what could you do at this point? Like, seriously, what could you do? You had the opportunity to do for black people. You had the opportunity to put in an anti-black, hate crime bill. No, you did it for the Asians. You had the opportunity, sir, and you didn't do it. So that's why black people are, just kind of cool on you. And our life is hard to live now because of your economic policies. So yeah, and there's more of these videos that I'm gonna take clips of, and we're gonna talk about it, because our brothers and sisters are really waking up to what Biden is doing. You can't sell us Trump's racist no more. You can't sell us, oh, he gonna get you. Ooh, he support the police. Man, Biden support the police. What are you talking about? Biden said in his State of the Union address that he was gonna fund the police. He said, I'm gonna fund them. So you can't just say Trump, he support the cops. Biden supports the cops. Biden wasn't for defunding the police. Biden wasn't for ending their qualified immunity. Biden feels the exact same way as Trump do about the police. So now one of them I could say is on our side about the police. That I can say. That is open and truthful. So sometimes y'all forget that Biden been around a long time, but Biden has put legislation on the books to harm the black community. 1994 crime bill. We got to keep going back to that, because after that crime bill was signed, people was mass incarcerated right after that, and for having drugs on them, not being a big dealer. I'm talking about drugs on them. But you got these folks that got all this meth on them, meth labs and everything. They're not being mass incarcerated, and meth is all over the place. They on heroin and everything else all over the place. These people are using. What about that place in Philadelphia, Kensington Street? Now, if that was a crack era, and with the crime bill, 12 would have arrested every last one of their high behinds and put them in prison. Right? But when it comes to them people, the crime bill don't work no more. That's what I'm saying. That's what we talking about right there. The Democrats have done a lot of harm to the black community. But black people are waking up. Y'all should go ask Biden why migrants got Medicaid and black Americans don't. Why are we subsidizing people who ran from their homeland? They have a homeland to go back to. They need to go fight in their homeland, build up their homeland. That's what they need to go do. Black Americans, we deserve our just due. And Medicaid is something that we deserve because we pay taxes. And we should question Biden about that. Hey, why they getting all this money? Why getting this? We don't get anything. What you talking about? You want us to vote? That's why I said, tell Biden, go holler at the migrants. That's where the money went. That's who you're giving Medicaid to. Tell them to go vote for you. Leave us alone. Because if you actually prioritize Black Americans, you wouldn't have a black problem right now. So tell him go get his votes out to migrants, since he invested so much time, energy, and policies toward them.